It is payday. You open your banking app, watch the loading circle spin. And there it is. Your paycheck has safely landed. You feel a sense of security. When you see those numbers on your screen, you automatically imagine a highly secure digital vault. You picture your hard-earned cash sitting quietly on a virtual shelf with your name etched into it. You assume your money is frozen in time, resting peacefully, waiting for the exact moment you decide to buy groceries or pay rent. This is the comforting story we are all taught to believe. We trust our bank to act as a passive storage facility, a modern fortress designed to simply guard our exact wealth. But the precise moment your deposit clears, that comforting story becomes a total fiction. Your money is not resting. It is not sitting on a shelf. The instant those funds enter your account, they cease to be your legal property. By making a deposit, you have unknowingly surrendered ownership of your capital. In exchange, the bank hands you a digital IOU, a legally binding promise that if you ever ask for your money back, they will try to return it. Instead of gathering dust in a vault, your money is immediately drafted into an aggressive wealth creation engine. The bank takes your deposit and uses it as legal leverage to conjure brand new money entirely out of thin air. Your cash is out there right now, circulating and multiplying at blinding speed. But here is the catch. It is multiplying for the bank, not for you. This invisible mechanism operating silently behind your smartphone screen is not just an abstract financial theory. It directly alters the reality of your daily life. It is the hidden force dictating why your weekly groceries get more agonizingly expensive. It is the silent engine quietly eroding the purchasing power of the savings you sacrifice to accumulate. This forces us to confront a deeply uncomfortable paradox. If the bank is using your exact deposit to legally manufacture free money for their own profit, we have to ask ourselves a dangerous question. Who actually owns the wealth inside your account? To understand this heist, we must travel back to 17th century London. Imagine you are a merchant carrying a literal bag of gold through dangerous streets. It is a target for thieves. So you do the logical thing. You take your gold to the local goldsmith, the only person with a reinforced vault. You hand over your metal, and the goldsmith writes you a paper receipt. You walk out feeling safe whenever you need to buy supplies. Instead of hauling the gold back out, you hand the seller your receipt. The paper becomes the money, sitting in his shop. The goldsmith notices something fascinating. The gold in his vault is just gathering dust. People rarely come back to claim the physical metal. They are perfectly happy trading the paper. So, he asks himself a dangerous question. What if I start writing receipts for gold that does not exist? He begins lending out phantom paper money, charging interest, and becomes fabulously wealthy. He invents money out of thin air, gambling that his customers will not demand their gold on the same day. This is how fractional reserve banking is born. You might think this is an ancient loophole. It is not. This is exactly what happens when you deposit $1,000 today. Let us track your exact deposit. Under the fractional reserve system, the law requires your bank to keep only a tiny sliver of that cash on hand. Historically, this was 10%, though in the US right now, that requirement is 0. But let us say they keep 10%. They lock $100 away. The other $900, they instantly lend it to your neighbor to buy a car. The dealership takes that $900 and deposits it into their own bank. That second bank keeps $90 and lends out $810 to someone else. The cycle repeats infinitely. Through this mathematical loop, your original $1,000 mutates into $10,000 of brand new digital money. Banks do not just hold your cash. They create 97% of all money in existence simply by issuing debt. Part 1. When you open your banking app, you see a static number. That is the illusion working exactly as intended. You view that building on the corner as a passive storage facility, a heavy steel box guarding your wealth while you sleep. The reality is far more aggressive. Your bank is a highly tuned wealth creation engine. It uses your digital numbers as legal leverage to infinitely expand the money supply. They are collecting tangible interest on money that did not exist before you walked through their doors. They are renting out ghosts and keeping the profits. Let us translate this back to your own wallet. Every time your bank issues this new credit, the overall pool of currency in the world expands. Picture a glass of lemonade. If you keep pouring water into it, the volume rises, but the flavor becomes weak. By flooding the system with new digital dollars, the bank silently dilutes the raw purchasing power of your original deposit. You think you are responsibly saving money. In truth, you are funding the invisible tax that steadily eats away at your labor. We call this inflation. It is not a random market accident. It is the direct mathematical consequence of banks multiplying money, making the cash in your pocket worth less tomorrow than it is today. Now zoom out and look at the entire planet. This multiplying mechanism is the underlying fuel for the global economy. It is the core reason we experience dizzying cycles of economic boom and catastrophic bust. When confidence is high, banks issue endless credit, inflating the economic balloon. But there is a fatal flaw woven into this architecture. It relies entirely on unwavering human belief. What happens when a rumor starts? Panic sets in, and everybody rushes to the bank on the exact same afternoon to demand their actual cash. The grand illusion shatters. The terrified crowd realizes the vault is mostly empty, holding only a tiny fraction of the wealth they are owed. We call this systemic heart attack a bank run, and it can collapse the entire house of cards overnight. Part 1. So, who really owns the wealth in your account? When you strip away the marble floors and the sleek smartphone apps, the answer becomes uncomfortably clear. The bank owns the wealth-generating power. That comforting balance you check every morning is essentially just a legally binding IOU. It is a digital promise that they will pay you back, provided everyone else does not ask for their money at the same time. You provided the baseline capital, but the bank reaps the vast majority of the profits generated by multiplying it. They built a financial empire using your seed money. Your reward is a fraction of a % in interest, while your purchasing power quietly melts away. What do you do when the system designed to protect your wealth is actively eroding it? You have to change how you view cash. Cash is not a permanent storage vehicle. It is a depreciating asset, a block of ice sitting in a warming room. The logical move is to step outside the illusion. You take your excess capital and park it where the banks cannot arbitrarily print more of it. You move it into hard assets. You buy a piece of a business through stocks. You buy physical land, real estate, or tangible commodities. These are things that possess intrinsic value. They are assets that tend to rise in price, right alongside the artificially expanding money supply. You stop being the silent funder of their credit machine and start anchoring your labor to reality. In the end, the modern banking system is not a villainous conspiracy. It is simply an incredibly efficient engine designed to turn your trust into debt, and that debt into entirely new money. It is a modern alchemy that built the world around us, funding skyscrapers and industries out of thin air. But it is a machine you are strapped to, whether you realize it or not. The money in your pocket is a shared hallucination, a fragile collective agreement, sustained only by faith. The next time you hand over a crisp paper bill or tap your plastic card, stop and ask yourself, are you holding real value? Or are you just trading the ghost of someone else's day?